Is going full-time reselling on eBay and other platforms a viable option? Is it even possible? This is a question that has been talked about a lot recently within the community, and it's by far the set of questions that I get asked the most on my Instagram, email, and YouTube live question and answers for resellers is when and how to go full-time. So let's talk about it. So my answer to this question and topic is absolutely yes. I myself have been selling full-time on eBay and other platforms for several years now. I make a full-time income just from reselling alone, and I'm able to pay all of my bills from just this stream of income. I think that the average person can also do this if they are willing to try and keep trying and learn and adapt along the way. But there are several key things and steps that I believe you must do in order to go full-time and be successful at it. Going full-time in anything as an entrepreneur or business owner is no joke. You can't just meander on into a full-time position with no security of a consistent paycheck, because you must create that consistent paycheck for you. And for those of you that aren't full-time as an entrepreneur, this is a very difficult task. You must be deliberate in everything you do to be able to go full-time in something. The first thing that I think you should do if you are thinking about going from part-time to full-time is you need to understand your own personal finances. Step one is figuring out how much your life actually costs. Now, I'm not talking about just your bills, but I'm also talking about your lifestyle. So I would actually recommend first getting an app similar to maybe Rocket Money or a similar app, not sponsored, but this is going to show you all of your sneaky subscriptions. I guarantee you all of us that are watching this video right now have some subscriptions that you just aren't aware of, and it's charging you a couple of dollars to even a couple of dozen of dollars every single month from your bank account or credit card that you're not even noticing. And then you'll actually understand, after looking at all of your subscriptions that you want to keep, you'll actually comprehend, wow, I'm paying $380 a month just in little miscellaneous subscriptions, or I'm paying $150 a month, whatever yours is. I want you to write down your bills, okay? So you have your first one already, subscriptions. Mine are $257 a month right now. And then you're also going to list out your rent or mortgage, utilities, car payments if you have them, car insurance, health insurance, all of your bills. Then also your lifestyle. You need to understand how much do you actually spend during the holidays for people's gifts, and do you drink coffee or alcohol, and how often do you go to concerts and all of this. And write down all of these numbers, groceries, everything. Understand how much you spend on average per month throughout the year. And then what you need to do is you need to be making double that number from reselling before you can go full-time in reselling. So whether you live in Mobile, Alabama, where your cost of living is just a couple $1,000s a month, or you live in upstate New York where your cost of living is over $10,000 per month, it's the same for everyone when it comes to this. You just need to be making double or close to your monthly expenditures. The reason why you need to be making double is because your income, like we talked about a little earlier, is variable. It's not ultra consistent, because that is the game we play as entrepreneurs and business owners. The reason why 9 to 5 is so popular is because if you work this many hours, you get paid this much money. But in entrepreneurship, sometimes you work this many hours and you get paid X amount, but then the next week you work the exact same amount of hours, but you make way less or even way more. So you're making double your bills just from reselling alone, and you're still making your full-time job income. So you're a little cash rich right now, hopefully. Hopefully you haven't increased your bills and inflated your lifestyle as you have made more money in this side hustle, but you've gotten to this point where you're making double your income. You still can't go full-time, in my opinion, until you have at least 3 months to 12 months of your lifestyle liquid cash, not cash, but liquid in a bank account that you can withdraw today. So if your bills are $6,000 a month, you should not go full-time until you have at least $18,000, and I would recommend more, because as a business owner, things can change very quickly. Sometimes the government will literally make a law that they just make this policy that like really screws over your business. For example, when I was a bit younger, I was doing drop shipping on Spotify. I would advertise products from China and sell them on a Shopify store. And then the warehouse in China that owned the products would send them out to the customers for me. All I would do is just connect that customer with that product through an advertisement in a website. Tariffs became a huge thing on China when I was doing this, and my margins went from around 40%, which is very healthy for a business, to about 5%, which completely changed my business. And I was a young kid at the time, and I didn't have these bank accounts set up. Luckily, my cost of living was very low, so I was all right. But if I had a wife and some kids at that point, things would have gotten very scary very quickly because I had to completely pivot out of that business and start another one. So you need to not only have money for those months where you make less than normal, but also you need that money ready to go just in case something severe like that happens. Having these financial pillars set up within your personal life is only going to make your life so much better. Now, this next thing that I recommend having in place before going full-time is just as important if you truly want to lead an amazing, incredible life. And that is, you need to understand your numbers in a way that you can accurately tell your spouse how much money you will be making. Now, like we've already talked about, as an entrepreneur, your income is variable, but if you understand your numbers, you can accurately predict within a small window how much money you will make each month, each hour, or each day. This may be the biggest issue going full-time from those of you that I know that have transitioned into full-time that I talk with regularly, is getting that support from your spouse. Usually when you're doing this part-time, it's all great because you are still working that full-time job and getting that consistent income. And then everything else from the side hustle is just gravy on top, and it's awesome. And if it's only $200 this month, $800 the next month, back to $200, that's okay because it's just additional income on top of that steady check. But when you drop that steady check and you go full-time and you don't understand your numbers in an accurate way that you can tell your spouse how much you make per hour, per day, or per month, this is where things start to get really hard on your relationship with your spouse, which some people disagree with me here. But I promise you, if you have a worse relationship with your spouse, you will make less money in your business. This is one of the many reasons why I stress so heavily sell-through rate. Because if you are constantly seeking fast sell-through rate items, not only are you actually selling them, but it is much easier to predict how much money you'll be making in the future if you focus on sell-through rate. Because if you only focus on sales price or items you like or volume, you're going to be having a ton of different variance in your sell-through rate of each individual item. A lot of the items you'll be picking up have awful sell-through rates. Some of them will be decent. A lot of them will be very quickly. But the very quick sell-through rate items come and go and are harder to find. And if you're just picking up everything, all of these variables, it's going to make it a much tougher to predict how much income you make. Because some months, you're only going to find the very slow sell-through rate CDs, and other months, you find the banger CDs that sell for $50 to hundreds of dollars the week you list them. Some months you're going to find way more bangers, other months you're going to find way more bread and butter or slow sell-through rate items. But if you are focusing on only items that have a sell-through rate threshold for your business, you can accurately predict how much product you will be moving. Then from there, you have to understand your sales price and your costs of doing business which there are 3 main costs of doing business per sale. So you need to understand 2 important numbers here. The first one is the sell-through rate of your store. The next one is your average sales price. The way you calculate the sell-through rate of your store is very simple. I like to do it on a 90-day basis because that is the most accessible data that eBay gives us. It's constantly showing us our 90-day total, and it's very easy to calculate your numbers off of this information. So the simplest way to do it is you take the amount of items you have listed, you take the amount of items you have sold in the last 90 days, and you divide that by the amount you have listed, and that is your sell-through rate for your store. If you have 1,000 items sold in the last 90 days and you have 1,000 listed, you have a 100% 90-day sell-through rate. That means 1,000 items will move out of your store in the next 90 days if things go according to plan. And if you are looking up your items and only buying items that have an appropriate sell-through rate that you have decided is good for your business, your store will stay relatively within that groove if you keep focusing on the sell-through rate of your items. So if you have 2,000 sold and 1,000 listed, you have a 200% sell-through rate. If you have 500 sold in the last 90 days and 1,000 listed, you have a 50% sell-through rate. Now, knowing your sell-through rate, you're going to be able to plug that into a simple equation that will tell you and your spouse how much money you're making. The second most important you need to know is your average sales price. You just go to your seller hub in eBay and you can go to your sales dashboard and you can click on, I like to look at everything for the last 90 days to base all my numbers off of, okay? So my average sales price over the last 90 days is around $40. That's my historic average, is about 40 bucks. So once you know how much your average sales price is, then you have to understand your cost of doing business numbers. There's principally 3. There's way more outside of that, but understanding these 3 will give you an accurate representation. So the first one is your cost of goods. How much does it cost to actually purchase your goods? Is it $1? Is it $5? Is it $4.38 on average? You have to understand what your average cost of goods is. And sometimes it's going to be $1 on something that sells for 10 bucks, and sometimes it's going to be $1 on something that sells for 80 bucks. Sometimes it's going to be $5 on something that sells for $19. Again, we're looking at averages here. So your average sales price is 40. Your average cost of goods, let's say, is $4. That's great. Now you're at 36 bucks, right? Now you're going to take your fees on eBay, which depending on your promoted listing strategy and all that, let's say it ends up being 15%. All you're going to do is simply take 40 times 0.15, which is the equation for coming up with percentages. So you take 40 times 0.15, that equals 6, okay? These numbers are gonna be very easy and solid. So my cost of goods is 4, my fees are 6, and then you need to understand your shipping. So that is also right here in front of you on your seller's dashboard. Especially if you ship through eBay, it makes it even simpler because it will just show you your total sales, and it will also show you your selling cost and your net sales, okay? So if you have a $40 sales price and you have a $4 cost of goods, a $6 fee cost, and an average, my average shipping cost is $6.14. So we'll say another 6, okay? So my numbers are, and then on a $40 sales price, the average tax is $2.44. So we'll say $2.50 there, okay? Which you need to deduct from that if you're going off of your seller hub. Your seller hub tells you the average sales price, including all of that. So I have $40 minus $4 for my cost of goods, minus $6 for my fees, minus $6 for my shipping, and minus $2.50 for my taxes. I have a net profit of $21.50 per item. Okay, that's net profit. Now, if you have employees and overhead, storage, utilities, the gas that it requires to go pick up those items, your internet bill, if you are sourcing online, all of that stuff minuses out from that net profit number as well. But you can honestly really go off of that net profit number, taking out those huge expenses, and then everything else is just going to be kind of more of like a bill or lifestyle. And then you obviously deduct those for tax time and you pay taxes on your actual profit. But you can accurately tell your spouse how much money you make because you know how much money you make per item and you know how often items are selling because of your sell-through rate. So if you focus on a sell-through rate model, you can accurately tell your spouse, this is how many items we sell every day, week, month, and quarter. Obviously, there's going to be variance from day to day and hour to hour, but the law of averages kick in if you keep sourcing similar sell-through rate items. You're going to be able to accurately give them a window. Hey, we sell between 800 and 1,200 items every 90 days. We sell about 1,000 items every 90 days. Then you are going to be able to explain to them, and this is how much profit we make per item. So if you are selling 1,000 items every 90 days and you are making $21.50 per sale, you're making $21,500 every 90 days profit. Now, most people want to know how much they're making per month, right? So there's 30.4 days on average each month. We'll just say 30. You're going to divide that number by 3 because 90 divided by 3 is 30, which is a month. So you're making $7,166 per month. You can go and tell your wife or your husband, hey, we make about $7,000 per month, give or take. Them knowing and you being able to show them how you came up with that number is going to give them a lot more belief in you and your business. It's also going to build a lot more trust because then you can say, and honey, I work this many hours per week. So if you're making $7,166 a month, divide that by 30, you're making $238 a day. And if you work 8 hours a day, then you can say, honey, we make $30 an hour in this example, okay? It's gonna build a lot of trust and it's gonna go a long way, I promise you. So many people in this industry and in other industries like it struggle with the confidence from their spouse. You're also going to need to, work your hours. If you are working 40 hours a week at your normal job, and then you come home and you do 15 hours for your side hustle, and then you go full time and you just keep working 15, maybe you add another 5, you're only working 20 hours a week, and your spouse sees that you're on TikTok or YouTube or playing fantasy football, there's gonna be a lot less trust. So you gotta actually, communicate with your partner and understand your business numbers, and you're going to be able to go full-time and make a ton of money. Also, before going full-time, I would either have a plan to add sources of other streams of income or already have other streams of income. And I recommend having them very similar to your biggest stream of income, which will be reselling. So the way that I did this was I made content around reselling. This is a very popular source of income for resellers, is you can talk about what you're doing on YouTube or Facebook or TikTok and make a little bit of extra money. That is not for everyone, and it is difficult to make a consistent stream of income through that as well. That is even more volatile, in my opinion, than reselling on eBay because you can't control the sell-through rate of your videos, right? Can't control, within reason you can, but anyways. Also, a thing you can do is you can make softwares or tools for other resellers and you can sell them to resellers to make their lives easier and more productive. You can also add streams of income through your sourcing methods. So you sell on eBay, and then just another stream of income you can add on top of that is directly correlated and is already within your work schedule and what you do every day is add on Mercari and Amazon and Poshmark and other platforms. But also on your sourcing, you can start getting into retail arbitrage as another stream of income. You can get into bulk buyouts. You can get into estate sale cleanouts, you can get into storage units, you can get into these other streams of income that's only going to support and build more of a moat around your business against all the troubles that come from being an entrepreneur. All right, guys, I want to talk about one more thing that will help you go full-time on reselling, and this is somewhat controversial, and it really breaks my heart that it is controversial. If you want to go full-time in reselling and have the most success possible and set yourself up for ultra success in this business, you need to learn to love yourself. And for some reason, people don't think that that is correlated to being successful in business. But if you don't have high self-esteem, and if you really don't like the person that you are, you're not going to succeed in this, because reselling specifically and entrepreneurship is hard. It is so difficult. There are speed bumps and pivots and issues every single hour of the day. Like literally every hour you are getting lowball offers that may affect you emotionally and mentally. You're getting people returning your items. Your items are selling slower than you think they would. You buy something, you bring it home, you realize it's not worth what you thought it was, or you didn't see a huge defect that makes it worth considerably less or maybe even worthless. You are constantly being attacked by different policies within your city, state, and country. The platforms are changing every single day. Fees are changing. The way your items are ranking in search are changing. They want you to pay more or less on fees here. Every single day, you are getting confronted with punches to the face of entrepreneurship. You are just consistently being presented with these challenges. And if you don't have confidence in yourself, these challenges will crush you and put you out of business. If you don't love yourself, if you don't have high confidence in yourself, you will lose. You won't be as successful as if you got up every morning and thought that you were a rock star. So please understand your numbers. Please put yourself in a good financial situation far before you go full-time. Please communicate with those most important to you, especially your spouse and family. And please continue to add multiple streams of income on top of what you're already doing. But most importantly, learn to love who you are and be confident in who you are, and you will be the only person that can put you out of business. If you have that confidence in yourself, no competitor, no glitch, no sourcing opportunity that dries up, nothing can put you out of business except for yourself. And if you're confident in yourself, you won't allow yourself to do that. I love you guys. I'll see you next time.